Welcome back to the LEC. Quickshot taking over the caster desk from Medic and joining in Dorino. Every time I'm here, we kill Poros in the audience. We're about to jump into Rogue taking on Vitality. And the race in playoffs is getting much more interesting. Vitality sitting down at the bottom of the table, but they picked up a win against Fnatic yesterday. They played well. It gives hope as we look forward to the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, a lot of the teams that we just assumed were our bottom teams were giving us hope with like Astralis also starting to perform too. So I, for one, am very excited to see what happens to the middle of our pack. Does it widen? Does it start to shrink? Do we have 10 teams ready for playoffs? This is where we find out.
This is where we begin the mantra, where every game is important. It matters.
Not again.
It's about time for draft. It's the top of the table versus the bottom. Rogue versus Vitality. Oh, it is good to be back on the caster desk, and it is an interesting match to say the least. When I looked at the schedule, when I looked at the games I was preparing for, I did not anticipate this one to maybe matter, to maybe be impactful. But after seeing what Vitality did yesterday, seeing how Crownshot was able to step up, I'm a little more hopeful. And straight out the gate, Seraphine, Callisto.
Yeah, exactly. The game yesterday changed things for Vitality. It changed things for Rogue, too. They're banning away the Seraphine that Milica, of course, piloted in yesterday's victory over Fnatic. So I like that. Also, taking the Callisto away from Hans Sama, one of his classic go-to bot lane picks. He certainly does love that. But it's interesting to see now that we've had like a week to settle more after a lot of the jungle nerfs that happened to champions. Next week is jungle nerfs to the actual jungle itself. But we have way less junglers early on in our drafts today.
And of course, when you look at this matchup, Crownshot, Labrov, Hans Sama, Trymbi, the bottom lane features heavily in the opening phase. The Thresh was the final ban, and a first pick Senna. Now, the last time we saw that Senna that really stands out will obviously be Reckless. He dealt 1,309 damage per minute on that incredible performance. He was supported by the Tahm Kench. I think it was called the Farm Kench, is something that Reddit had dubbed it. And I want to see whether or not we'll see the same duo.
Yeah, I was also watching some LCK earlier this morning. We saw Senna with Heimerdinger bot lane, so I hope we don't see that today, but there's definitely some fun pairings that can go down into that matchup. Udyr was left open, and Skeanz, of course, he's going to lock that one in immediately here and just sprint down a Senna later on in these fights.
He has played it once, has lost that game. And we saw it earlier this split, and Crownshot will now lock in the Ezreal. So this will be his 4th unique champion in the 4 games that he has played on stage. No surprise for TK, it's something we've seen here, and the Lillia that is just raising to prominence.
I mean, back when Crownshot was on SK, his champion was Ezreal. He was one of our best Ezreal players in the entire league and was banned against him all the time. But this is a champion that has not seen much play at all this year with the removal of like Trinity Force as his go-to item. A lot of the item changes definitely made him feel bad. Was buffed in 11-3, got some more damage to the ratio on his Q. So I'm curious to see what Crownshot can do when he is full comfort on a champion here back in the LEC.
The word comfort is interesting for me because when I look through Team Vitality's pick ban history and the number of unique champions they've run in 2021, there are a lot. I mean, Szygenda is now playing, again, first time Camille this season. It will now be his 7th unique pick on stage, and Vitality still looking for that comfort for a team that hasn't picked up too many wins.
And it's looking for an identity, right?
Yes.
Too, as Vitality continue to experiment, it's not like they're playing a million champions, but they all fit into one style. It's a lot of champions, it's a lot of different styles, and this is one of those things where we're past the halfway point. Vitality need to figure out the winning formula and stick to it, because it is too late to keep trying new things out.
And at the halfway point, they changed the core member of their team, obviously swapping out Comp for Crownshot, so searching for that identity becomes a little more challenging. We are in phase 2 bans. Gnar, Jace, and Twisted Fate removed from the pool. We're looking for both solo laners on the Rogue side of the Rift, and over for Team Vitality support as well as mid lane. So you would assume support gets locked in now, and then leave that counter pick for Milica for the last option.
Exactly. Milica has definitely had his fair share of unique picks. LeBlanc has actually played a couple of times. The Jace they banned away themselves, but has been a mid lane champion he's fallen back onto in the past. Right now, Vitality do need some magic damage, so would expect to be Milica piloting some of that himself. Whereas Rogue, I mean, I think that Senna in pro play, very, very strong at the moment. Insane scaling, especially if you're going the supportive route, not actually farming inside the lane. So by locking in a Bard next to an Ezreal, you start to put some hurt down.
Okay, so that is the first Bard of 2021 here in Europe. Labrov has actually played 4 games of Bard in summer last year. He went 2 wins, 2 losses, and 1, 2, 3. That is his 8th unique champion. Again, another new champion for Vitality.
I love it. You know, when he was playing the Bard last year, I was calling him Labro because he was always coming in, helping people out, getting those huge ultis and setting up for some kills. So I'm really excited to see what he can do on that champion, because you look at it, now Vitality have some form of long-range, non-committal engage, something they were desperately lacking with the Camille and an Udyr next to each other. So now that Bard can set up, lock down a target like a Senna perhaps before a Tahm Kench can get into range, and then you unload all the hurt, the CC from an Udyr, the lockdown of a Camille as well.
Okay, Larssen will be piloting the Azir. Shen will join the fray as well. So long-range, non-committal engage, long-range, committal defense from the Shen. Interestingly, by the way, for Larssen, Azir is his most played professional champion ever. 30 professional games on stage. So very big comfort pick, something that I think is synonymous with him.
Larssen is the best in Azir in Europe, hands down, no question about it. And we got the Corki to match it on the other side. I think Vitality saw that Rogue are putting together an unbeatable comp. Like, you try to take this team on in the late game with the Senna stacking up souls, the Azir range, like, that is really, really hard here. And Vitality now have some scaling options themselves.
Okay, so you know I love my stats, and I have done a lot of pick and ban prep for this series. Corki is now Milica's 9th unique champion in spring, right?
What?
If you combine that with the fact that Crownshot has played 4 unique champions in these 4 games, along with the rest of the team searching for their identity, one other interesting tidbit, Corki is Larssen's 2nd most played professional game ever. And the Azir Corki matchup is one we have seen countless times before.
Larssen is the king of the Azir Corki meta.
That is what I want to get to. Now, will Vitality be able to dethrone Larssen and dethrone Rogue, who currently sit atop the LEC? Vitality surprised Fnatic yesterday. Let's find out if they can surprise Rogue today. Too early. Damn it, I finished too early. That was so close.
It's okay, you need some time to warm up. And now. And now.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift for Rogue, taking on Vitality. Hansama in the bottom lane, Glacial Augment sitting next to Trymbi.
And before you say it, you will not call her Fasting Senna. You will call her Support Senna with Farm Kench.
That is correct.
That is the only acceptable terminology for the remainder of this cast. And of course, Hansama will be starting off with the support item, going for the max Senna stacking build, which we saw Reckless, like you mentioned before the draft, I mean, absolutely look insane on. So the scaling from Rogue is absolutely there, and it's up to Vitality to figure out some way to come away with an advantage early on and then use some of the side lane threats they have drafted.
Unlimited scaling on Senna, plus Azir, one of, if not the best, you know, when it does come to scaling in the mid lane. Now, you did soak a little bit about Milica's champion pool, needed to find some magic damage, and he does have a lot. Labro will be able to spot Rogue on that little bit of an invade, and they're trying to just interrupt and delay.
I mean, the thing is, Rogue's level 1 is pretty nasty, right? A lot of low cooldown, repeatable abilities, the slow chains you can get from a Tahm Kench Q-Lash, as well as the Glacial Augment there on the Senna. Makes it really tough, so Inspired's going to get a pretty easy blue buff steal here, deny that away from Skeanz, and if you assume that top lane 2 from Odo should have a little bit of priority early on, it means that Skeanz won't be able to have any sort of counterattack invade to trade the favor and reclaim a blue for himself.
Now, we didn't really talk too much because of my meandering with stats, but obviously we talked about some scaling on the Rogue side, but when we look at this Vitality composition, you know, how nervous are you? Are they on a timer? You know, they do have scaling. Obviously, they do have the ability to start fights.
Yeah.
Look at that side lane.
Yeah, exactly, right? They're always going to have a Camille who's going to eventually turn into quite the side lane threat against the Shen. Not so much early on. Odoamne, you can already see, taking a pretty good trade up against the Szygenda. But I think Milica is really the biggest difference there. When Milica can get 3 items on this Corki, we saw, of course, the Immortal Shield Bow being built by Magic Felix's Corki, and that seemed unbeatable in the 1v1 later on when he rolled in with the package. So even using that, they can try to diminish some of the value, because Rogue, even though they don't have great side lane pressure, they have a ton of global. So it's never really a true 1v1, which is where, again, it feels kind of tough for Vitality to find their angle of attack later into the game.
I mean, it's terrifying when you think about it. The Abyssal Voyage, the Stand United, the Swirl Seed.
Yeah.
Joking about that. Of course, 3 teleports on the side.
There's a Senna ulti in there, too.
Well, there we go. Exactly.
They can just shield you from miles away without really doing anything.
From both the Senna and the
up.
Shen, in fact. And Odo's already starting to bully down Szygenda. He's burned through a fair amount of his consumables, but using that passive from Camille to max effect and ending up relatively even, that last biscuit not being eaten.
Yeah, the trades in that top lane matchup can be a little interesting, because of course Odo always wants to trade when he can use that W, which blocks all the auto attacks coming through from Camille. Camille, whenever her passive is up, that's going to look very good, but she also has some range tools with the W. Is that Precision Protocol? Did I get that right? Nailed it. Excellent. That's the one. So, like, from level 1, you can have some poke, but you can see there Odo with early control.
I mean, Szygenda looked pretty good yesterday in the top lane as well. See if we can replicate that play. Odo gets a good taunt. Stand United is dropped. Szygenda does not want to fight inside. Correction. Spirits Refuge rather.
I want to officially coin the name for when Szygenda is having a pop-off performance.
Okay.
The Szygenda.
The Szygenda. All right.
This is the Shy.
So Gen X pulled off a Szygenda. Just a
No. It's only when Szygenda performs well. Gen X can be someone else.
Okay, got it. We'll have to think of we'll have to challenge you to come up with another name for next week when SK play. But let's talk about this bottom lane a little bit. Obviously, the farm Kench currently pushing the lane forward. Ezreal Bard, not something we see a lot of. In fact, it's the first time we've seen it this year in this combination. What do you make the 2v2?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's usually a 2v2 that has like some pretty good power, right? Bard can do a lot of good harassment on his own. You follow it up with Ezreal Qs, and with a ranged support, you can get a lot of work done in the bot lane. Unfortunately, it doesn't really play out that way against a Senna and a Tahm Kench, because, like, who are you actually going to deal damage to in that lane? There's healing coming through, like Tahm Kench has so much innate healing. Hansama can just continue to heal up allies, and if you're trading into a support Senna, that means she is stacking souls. So every trade, if you're not really chunking her out, it's a loss, because she gets more power via those souls she's going to be gathering. So it's a matchup that I honestly don't think is going to do too much in the 2v2, and is more about what can Labrov do later on in the game, you know, opening up portals to allow Skeanz to go even faster into the enemy team. I actually want to see if a portal is faster than Udyr just running in a straight line. That's my question.
I actually am a big fan of that thought process, because if Labrov is able to roam and use that Tempered Fate to set up a Corki or a Camille or combo with Skeanz and Udyr, in actual fact, the sum of all of their parts will synergize particularly well. But that also does put the onus of execution on the Vitality side. It feels to me like it's a little bit more of a difficult comp to pull off.
Yeah.
You have to be on the same page. You have to land your skill shots. When I look at Rogue, well, as long as Hansama's farming, it's a lot simpler to execute that.
Well, Hansama's not farming. As long as Trymbi's farming and Hansama's farming souls. Skeanz looking for mid play, but he's just going to slide out. But I would actually like to talk about mid for just a second here, because that CS gap is huge. Just in the 1v1, nothing's happened in this lane. And you'll notice Larssen, we coined him the king of the Azir versus Corki matchup, and I think that absolutely stands here. He's running the Electrocute on Azir, which is something you like to do against the Corki for early laning threat. Of course, you can easily proc that whenever Corki tries to step up and go for the CS. So Milica has been chunked out in this lane, has been zoned off a lot of CS. You can see Corki before level 6 doesn't really have great ways to farm from range other than the auto attacks. Those sand soldiers just zoning him away are really, really tough until he can start getting some extra bullets in that R.
And I mean, you start to see Corki really unlocked once the package is available. And once that is done, again, you can combo that into Szygenda's lane, into a play with Skeanz. 6.5 minutes, Ocean Dragon is incredibly early here for Rogue. We've talked about scaling already and being beneficial for the Rogue composition. We already know how good Rogue can play the late game, and now they're starting to invade Vitality.
Inspired does this all the time. If he takes your first blue, he will be back for the second, and you will lose it. No smite on Inspired, though, so... Oh, they're going to do the Tahm Kench. That's just dirty. Spit it out into the river. The smite comes up in the nick of time there. Nicely done.
Yeah, I really, really like that. And again, when you remind everybody that the early invade from Rogue unlocked the first blue buff steal, they get the first dragon, they follow it up with the blue buff steal of their own, and when you look at Rogue's early game, 90% of the games, they get first tower, plus 2k, roughly. Goal difference of 15, like their early game is strong.
Trevor, I'm just disgusted because Rogue have the better scaling. They have Prio in every single lane.
Yep.
They've gotten both blue buffs from Vitality.
Yep.
They got the first dragon at 7 minutes into the game. Did I mention they have good scaling?
You did.
Yeah.
I've mentioned it myself as well, and we've also talked a lot about how not only is their scaling good, but there's so much comfort, right? And I'm going to take us back to the draft. Like, Larssen's most played professional champion is Azir, his second most is Corki. He is intimately aware of how this plays out. Odoamne might just be one of the best Shen players that has ever played in Europe. I think a few weeks back, Vedius called him the weak side king. He's playing into Camille. Well, do you know where he's going to be playing a lot on Shen? Probably the weak side,
yeah.
Right? And then when we look at this Farm Kench duo, there is a lot of positives to take away. So I need to turn the attention to Vitality. I need to ask you, Mr. Frierson, how and where do we want to see them move around? Now, I do think, obviously, they need to get that ultimate on Labrov and see if he can have some impact.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when you look at it, Vitality in a vacuum, like, they have really good scaling options. Like, Ezreal does a ton of damage late, Corki, Camille, all these champions do very well individually, but it's more of the overall identity of this comp. How does it fit together, specifically in a 5 versus 5? And that's where I think, like, how do you approach into a 0 Senna? That's very, very difficult. The range they have to work with, the survivability, the disengage tools make it very hard for Vitality's comp to approach when their engage is a little bit lackluster. Now their side lane power, that's where Camille should be taking over later on. A Corki beats out an Azir and a Shen and should be doing very well, but Rogue have the globals to combat it, so Vitality need to find a way of playing around that to gain pressure on the map.
And also, let's keep looking at the minimap, because you talked about pressure, you talked about side lanes, and because Rogue can initiate a fight with the Shen, with the Abyssal Void, with the teleports that they have from very long range, that means Vitality need to maintain good vision, and they need to be the team that's proactive. They need to be setting up for side lane pressure. There's not even plates or towers down yet, so we're looking very far ahead, because currently it's even CS top, and I expect middle. We're going to double check the CS. I think an advantage here to Vitality if the observers can just flip over to the gold. Yeah, there we go. So about 5.5k to about 5.5k. So pretty much even in the duo. That mid lane, though, Larssen is already accelerating ahead. Nearly 30 CS already.
And this matchup, like, I do like it for Azir in the early stages, but not this much. This is much more than you'd expect. But I think it does definitely just pay tribute to how strong Larssen is on this Azir and how dominant he can look for the team that he's been able to build up this big lead by himself.
And I mean, when you combine Larssen's advantage, Inspired's advantage, it's 1,200 gold. It's the first dragon of the game. It's a team comp that scales incredibly well. If you are a fan of Vitality, this is where you should start to get nervous, right? The advantages that is already being accrued, and Rogue continues to just farm this Kench up, pick up all the souls that Hansama wants on the support Senna. Remember that, if you're watching at home.
Very important.
I am on board with the stories that Medic has been pushing for, and justice for support. Trymbi will be able to at least pick himself up a Mythic this time round. But Ender, if you were to, put yourself in a training situation, if you were to take me to battle school, okay?
Oh, you've been studying your Ender's Game references.
I have indeed.
Okay.
I have indeed. Where do you think you would strategize, you'd theorize the first kill, the first play is going to come from? Because it's been a relatively snoozy farm fest.
Yeah, it's been really difficult. And I think, interestingly enough, I would say not actually in any one particular lane. I think that if you go bot lane, it's going to be disengaged by T carry very well. There's always these globals to try and play against you. So I'd actually like to see Vitality continue to play off of their deep vision that they've gathered. One of the best things you can do as a bard is sort of gather up with your jungler, have deep vision, and then come portaling in onto an enemy red buff or something like this, right? So these are the types of things I would look for as Labrov and Skeanz working together to make something happen. We also have a Mountain Drake coming in 15 seconds, and Rogue may very well want to go ahead and fight that one because the farm Kench already has that first Mythic item finished off. There's a Moonstone too for Inspired, so these guys are going to be so tanky. They were already hard to kill. Now it's a Moonstaff Lillia too.
Dude, that is crazy. Moonstone for Inspired and Chem Tank for Trymbi before anyone else has picked it up. And also, just a little quick stat for anyone watching at home, the latest First Blood of 2021 was 11 minutes and 35 seconds. So we're going to set a new record. Whoever dies first will concede the latest first blood of the season.
Just look at this bot jungle. The blue buff spawns for the third time. Vitality like, there is no way he is getting into the observers. Can we pan out and just see all of the red wards in the bot side jungle? It's stupid. This is what I mean by luxury vision. When there's like 3 wards in the same place and it just doesn't matter because you know exactly where they are.
And that is just to defend, obviously, the blue buff. The second dragon has been sitting there for a little while, and Inspired will walk across. The crab will get spotted out. You can see a couple of pings there from Vitality on his head. Wow. And Inspired will start this one off. Look, there's no one from Vitality to contest, and it looks like the farm Kench is pushing that bottom lane. Now, Crownshot and Labrov will slowly make way, but I think
they can't fight it. Skeanz is left, so now I'm... Why did we get all that deep bot side vision if we're not going to play there? You know, again, I think they were trying to see if Inspired would take a bad path, and yeah, blue buff, exactly, but all that deep warding, not going to do too much, and they can't really because you just look at top lane, teleport was blown by Szygenda. Odo has his ultimate, so it immediately says bot lane plays do not exist any longer. The Ref Child was taken earlier by Rogue, so actually that's a really good use there.
Done.
And of course, will shut down. So now Shelly won't charge on in, you don't get those 2 free plates.
No, definitely not this time around. Those plates will be dropping in 2.5 minutes. And
that's Labrov.
Reminder that Rogue at 15 minutes average plus 1.8k. They're on pace for that. They average the first hour in 90% of their games. They're on pace for that. You can see plates being secured in multiple lanes. They've got advantage in top. They've got advantage in mid. And for the time being, it's starting to look very, very scary for Vitality.
It's your timely Senna soul counter. Check in 61 souls on the Senna. That's 3 range buffs right there. So doing a very good job. Stack that one up. We're going to be coming back to you throughout the game with those Senna soul check-ins and telling you just how ridiculous this champion can get.
Next checkup, around 20 minutes on the Senna soul counter. Let's give this support Senna for Hansama a little bit more time to build up. I haven't had a chance to celebrate yet. Skeanz obviously running the flash on the Udyr. My preferred option, still working his way up towards his very own chem tank. And obviously the Frostfight Gauntlet has now been completed for Odoamne. He is still farming very well, plus 27 CS over Szygenda. Not looked in the top lane yet. Skeanz will be in some trouble. Tongue Lash will come out and forced to flash away.
Flash turtle stance.
Flash run away. But I mean, coming up to 15 minutes, 1,500 gold advantage here. And for Rogue, 8 wins, 2 losses. The mirror of Vitality, 2-8, top of the table, competing to still maintain control of the LEC. And Vitality competing just to have a shot at playoffs. The stakes are very, very high for this game. And honestly, I'm getting very, very nervous for Vitality. Rogue are just pulling ahead in every metric that matters.
Exactly. There's no funny business by Rogue. This team is not a team that gives you windows to beat them if you're worse than them, right? Like, Rogue will not give you that opportunity, and that's why they're making this play happen here, going for Crownshot.
Crownshot may be the latest first blood of 2021. He's been put to sleep, bought some time from Labrov, but there's 3 members of Rogue right on top. Dash over, flash over, blooming blows, and it's Larssen that picks up first blood, 15 minutes and 18 seconds, the latest of the year, on the king of Azir in EU.
Oh, of course it's Larssen to show up and get that kill. That's a heartbreaker there for Vitality. And honestly, I love seeing the theory there play out, even using the Bard ultimate to ignore the sleep, right? It cancels out the entire duration. In theory, that gives Ezreal a way out, but not when the entire crew from Rogue is on the way, and Larssen is the huge beneficiary of it.
He already had a gigantic advantage in the middle lane. Picks up the big bonus for first blood. Tower first blood secured here as well by this support Senna in the bottom lane. And I have to ask your opinion. What do you make of Labrov using his ultimate twice, but defensively? First to defend the mid lane tower, then to defend Crownshot. We're 16 minutes into the game. Does that make you nervous?
Yes and no. Like, the situations where he's used it in, I'm all for it, right? Like, defending the Herald, that's good. Trying to get Crownshot out there, again, I like that line of thinking. But honestly, I don't know what Vitality is supposed to do here, Trevor. Their composition can't attack Rogue anywhere. Rogue have 3 globals to work with. They have 3 teleports on top of said globals, and they outscale. So Vitality, they lack the teamfight tools. They lack the ability to attack and make plays because, again, unless maybe you can get Szygenda involved in a play coming on forward, because it's just so hard to actually lock down targets from Rogue.
I mean, I think that's so true. I hadn't factored into my own thought process. Even if Vitality make a play, you have to make sure Stand United is down, Teleport's down, Abyssal Voyage is down. Otherwise, the counter-engage, the counter-attack from Rogue is just going to be more and significantly better. So, look, kudos to Rogue and their drafting. And now it's up to Vitality, 3,000 gold down.
And the one thing I would say about Vitality's comp is it's not very like ult-reliant. Like they have 3 champions, Udyr, Corki, Ezreal, who effectively don't have meaningful ultimates when it comes to fighting. So if Vitality can take a fight where they bait out a lot of these global tools, granted there's so many that can they really do that? I don't know. Well, then they can increase the tempo of the game. They can find another attack quickly because they don't rely on ultimates as much as Rogue do. But again, unless you're able to get those ultimates gone in the first place, which is likely a losing fight, you can't make good on that promise of your comp.
No, you can't. And Larssen just stepped up there into Milica in the bottom lane. Milica's got that Immortal Shield Bow completed, the Sorcerer's Shoes as well. So he is going to be putting out, you know, a fairly large amount of damage. But Larssen backs away, plays it safe. Szygenda's sitting on that Trinity Force of himself. And it looks like Vitality may have a little bit of a sneaky play. Skeanz and Labrov maybe setting up on Larssen.
They do no damage. It's a okay, they're TPing in. They really want this. Milica's ready to party.
Yeah, let's take a look. Can Larssen make it out alive? Here comes Milica with the package. The Emperor's Divide is available. The flash, the 2-man knockup, the Stand United from Odoamne, and the shield. That is exactly what we talked about. Follow-up teleports coming down from Vitality. Labrov forced to run away with the magical journey. He gets out clean. Crownshot has been soloing off the dragon, and Vitality will at least buy themselves some time to slow down the dragon play. Inspired and Trymbi will get caught in place. And at the end of the day, nothing but the dragon for Vitality.
It's just Spain without the S for Vitality. I don't know what you're supposed to do here.
Oh, really nice, really nice. But it was a proactive play, and crucially, it exemplifies what we've just been discussing for several minutes. The counter, the global.
They're going again. Again, they can fight. The ultimates are gone, but the TPs are still there.
Empress Divide is on cooldown. Conquering shifting sands. 1, 2 teleports will complete, but now Rogue can take the tower.
Okay. Vitality did it. Check. Tahm Kench gone. Senna gone. Shen gone. All the 3 TPs gone as well. Okay, now a fight is a winning one from Vitality. And credit where credit is due, they actually got the Cloud Drake, which is a big sneak away from that last fight to come out of it. But again, the only way Vitality can actually get something done on the map is if they find these windows, very short windows, mind you, where they can then further move forward and try to take some advantage.
So now you have to make those plays. You have to make them count. And crucially, Crownshot's flash will be available very, very soon. We are approaching the 20-minute mark in gameplay.
Okay, Trevor.
I would like to do a quick support Senna Souls check.
All right, well, you can see it down in the bottom left corner of your screen. 86 stacks on that Senna. Going to be getting a couple more off of this minion wave, and that's going to be A-okay because she's got the Kraken Slayer finished off too, so this Senna is a monstrosity.
The game hasn't even become
87.
stressful yet for Rogue. 3 minutes until the next dragon. And for Vitality, look, it is going to be a monumentally difficult task, and it is what we sort of outlined with their composition. They do need to execute on finding picks or getting side lane pressure. So let's keep our eyes on Szygenda and what he can do right now. Grouping and pushing mid is the call from Vitality.
Trevor, there's a Shen ult back again.
Yep.
The Abyssal Voyage is back. Soon we're going to have that Senna ready to give some global assistance here. So Vitality say, let's go to that Shen, see what we can get done, trying to take some control over the top side jungle. I do like these movements. Again, if you can try to find Inspired in rotation between his camps or on some of these types of things, it can be effective, but no, they'll just get pushed away, have to hop on over the wall and lose mid prio once again.
Okay, a lot of Rogue members making their way to the mid lane. This might be a little bit like results-based, I don't say NAS, but results-based discussion. We talked a lot about Vitality trying to find their identity. I went a little ham on how many first-time champions we're seeing for this team. But then when you look at the draft that Rogue put together and just how well it synergizes, do you think that discussion becomes more relevant? When you look at like Rogue out-drafting, quote-unquote, Vitality and now outplaying the composition as well.
Look, you know how Rogue likes to play the game. You know how G2 likes to play the game. You know how Fnatic like to play the game. I even feel like we know how Schalke want to play the game. Like, all of our top teams have clear-cut identities, and our bottom teams have been scrambling to find something that works. And I don't know. Vitality is still with yet another attempt here to try and figure something out, but it has not come together.
I think that's an exceptionally good point, because when you look at Vitality 2 and 8, don't really know their identity. Misfits don't really know their identity. Astralis now with Magic Felix. Oh, well, hang on. We're now starting to see an identity forming and developing, and we see them picking
even
up
like
wins.
an SK, I would say now too, have such a huge focus over their bot lane as well, and them being the driving forces in terms of like making plays on the map as well. So these teams are the ones, I feel like the teams, you know how they play. They're the ones that you're looking at for playoffs.
So let's go back to theory now. We're sitting down in class. Sheepy actually had a segment during Ready Check where he's talking about teams' identities.
Yeah.
And I know obviously you're getting ready for the cast and whatnot, but how would you define what an identity is, right? Like what can I as a viewer or a player at home take away or try to understand?
Well, there's a lot of different things you can latch on to, and usually it's just going to be like some form of like consistency in the way you play. I may have to hold that thought as Vitality are setting up a top lane play, but again, all these globals are ready. Run away, boys. Let's continue our conversation.
Stand United available,
Yeah.
Missile Voyage available.
No, but realistically, you look at a few different things. Like the first one that comes to mind is like, how are these teams drafting? Is there like consistency? Are they like in Excel? They're always looking to, you know, scaling towards the later stages of the game. Here we go, Rogue, they want to kill.
Absolutely do. There's
Run
the
away,
Szygenda,
Szygenda, run away.
Blast Cone and Flash, another blue buff steal. So we'll see he's going to get chucked out here as well. Inspired and Larssen, do they fancy themselves a shot? Larssen flashes away, a little bit not on the same page because Stand United was very, very quick from Odoamne.
Yeah, they just want to pop instantly on that one. The Cloud Drake is coming up. Labrov catches out Odoamne.
Let's take a look what happens here from the follow-up fight. Nothing just yet. Spirit's Refuge does a whole lot. It's getting a little bit awkward. Flash is available for Skeanz, but there's no target.
All right, boys, come over here. I'm going to heal you up. Hansama ready to go, ready to get these health bars back up. Here we go.
2,500 gold difference. One tower already picked up for Vitality. They're focusing the mid. The Dragon is still available. Vitality haven't yet been able to find the play. Remember, the ultimate is on cooldown for Labrov.
That's huge, right? No, but like Rogue lost a lot of ultis too. Inspired Odo don't have anything to work with, but Hansama has his right click.
Man, that is such a devastating support champion. This Senna is doing work. The Kraken Slayer already completed. And actually, interestingly, if you look down at the build, Crownshot's got himself the Essence Reaver and the Serrated Deer Vamp Scepter. Is he going Duskblade?
Duskblade is the new flavor here on the Ezreal, and I'm a bit of a fan of it, of course. On the most recent patch, the AD ratio on Ezreal's Q got buffed up to 130% to try and help out some of these builds. Like with the Duskblade, of course, do a lot of damage to the squishier members on Rogue. And I mean, Ezreal, he's probably wanted for years to be able to go invisible, you know, to try and unlock that secret. Now he's finally done it.
Oh man, and of course, Crownshot, definitely one of the most storied Ezreal players here in Europe. And we're fully aware of all the different variations of the build. Catch a quick glimpse there of Trymbi, by the way, on the farm Kench. Got himself the legendary already following his mythic Randuin's Omen after the Chem tank.
And the really disgusting thing about a farm Kench, in my opinion, is that we're now in a point where, like, there's no one to contest Larssen for CS. Any lane he's in, no one's taking it. Like, there's no pesky ADC trying to get the cannon here and trying to time his right click so he can steal away the minions. No, Larssen can just farm 2 lanes if he wants to. Like, he will push out bot lane, then he'll run mid, then he'll also take the wave there too. So while the CS lead hasn't really exploded for him compared to Milica just yet, it is only going to look better and better for him as the game goes on.
Let's see what Vitality can do. Tempered Fate is available. Can he find a target? Labrov stepping forward. Trymbi's the target. He's going to lock down Hansama and Szygenda, but Vitality's starting to peel away. Milica's a little late to the party, and it's Szygenda that's dead already. Caught amongst the Rogue members. Defensive arcane shift over the wall from Crownshot, and Labrov continues to step backwards. Manages to find a stun to allow Vitality to escape.
Sleepy time goes down onto Skeanz. They want more.
Yeah, they managed to get the taunt onto Skeanz. Flash Turtle away to safety, and Rogue set their sights on Baron. It is simply too little, too late for Vitality.
Yeah, Rogue are actually going to start this up. Again, with the Senna, they can just perma-sustain through all of it. Azir is going to be carrying all the damage onto the objective. Vitality only have 4 members, and the TP is at least 20 seconds away.
Can they manage a magical steal? Skeanz, no flash over the wall, no blast cone either. Baron's down to 4,000 HP. And Rogue are starting to peel away. Odoamne and Spike still inside the pit. They're playing this one a little cautiously, playing this one a little bit slowly.
They're not taking any damage, Trevor. What is this?
There's nothing available to them. None of the poke is connecting either. Down to 2,000. It's getting a little close. Is the burst going to
Magical journey!
The dash inside from Skeanz. He's taunted.
Oh, he got it!
Flip. and it's Vitality that get the Baron, but can they get out alive? Milica forced to flash to safety, and Rogue trying to chase him down. Sleep's not available yet, but the flash towards is, and Rogue will get themselves 2 more kills. Labrov takes a magical journey and is chased by 3 Rogue members. Check out the emotes as Labrov will escape. This fight has taken so long, he got another ultimate up.
Labrov walking it on out here, but I think Larssen is on the chase. The burger flip did not come out good for Rogue. They still get the kills. They're going to eventually, no, they're just going to give up on him. Bro going to scoot his way on out of that one. But honestly, Skeanz using the magical journey to get in there for the Baron steal, highlight of the game for Vitality.
It absolutely was. It still puts Vitality in a very difficult scenario. I think Labrov got out with the Baron buff.
Most importantly, he got the 4-second recall so he could escape there. Without that, he's going down. You watch this one more time. How does it actually come through? Because I think Crownshot uses some burst damage as well here with the Q coming in. 861 on the smite. That's just a good play there from Skeanz and Crownshot trying to combo down together. Lock that one in. Of course, the ensuing team fight never going to go Vitality's way, but they've held on.
They bought themselves more time. They managed to steal 1 dragon away. That delays the soul, at least 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Now we're a minute away from that next fight. Vitality, they managed to steal the Baron. I've always thought having a honeybee as a mascot or a logo was an interesting choice. Because you know when a bee stings you, it rips out its insides when the stinger stays in your skin and then it dies.
That's a little morbid, Trevor.
It is, much like stealing the Baron in a game where you're behind in gold, worse in scaling,
oh no,
and just buying some time. I can't get that analogy out of my head, and I felt this game was the most appropriate.
I love it. Honestly, good stuff, Trevor.
We brought it up. But listen, 40 seconds until the next Cloud Drake, and let's do another Senna Soul check-in. And it's not going to have time just yet. It's
131.
No flash, 131. Going to get the ultimate out from Hansama, and we'll buy some time. Trymbi starts to step backwards, looking to peel away. Sange soldiers are sent forward by Larssen. 20 seconds until Dragon, but Vitality have control of the river.
Yeah, Rogue, I mean, if they had Baron buff, they could just waltz it down mid, but they do not. It seems like they are going to give up some control. Milica's trying to cut off the minion wave. He gets the cannon minion. That's a big one, and that shuts down Rogue's trying to push it and just go down the front door of Vitality's base.
So look at the minimap. Szygenda is going to be late to this party. Milica gets a big one onto Rogue. It's some damage. It is still a deficit for Vitality. It's 30 minutes into the game, and Vitality still have not secured a kill.
What's Milica and Szygenda? That flank is huge here for Vitality.
Dragon has been started. Vitality are inside the pit. This is for the soul for Rogue. Skeanz won the last burger flip by getting inside the pit. The Emperor's Divine buys time. Milica goes for a gigantic Valkyrie over the river. It's going to slow down Rogue and push them away. The Dragon was secured by Vitality, buying more time. Szygenda goes golden himself. He's locked inside the members of Rogue, still yet to die. Rogue are now trying to run down Vitality. Larssen dashes forward onto Milica. Skeanz running for his life. The Dragon goes to Vitality, and yet another ultimate from the Bob. The 6th kill for Rogue. And Vitality cannot make it work.
But I mean, somehow they still keep getting the objective and only losing 2 players on the other half. So Vitality are still going to check that one down as a win in this fight. Again, Szygenda and Milica, with their flank into the backline, effectively all they do is zone and distract. You can't get back over that Valkyrie, so the Dragon does get secured by Skeanz. Well done. But here, Vitality trying to go flying on in here. Szygenda doesn't quite connect with the hook shot, and now he's caught way out of position. The same cannot be said for Odoamne, who is tankier than all can be. He gets out easy peasy.
Well, the scariest thing is, from Kench, once he replaces frontline duty from Odoamne, an argument could be made that he might even be more tanky. Once you added some of that
nasty
gray health that he can pop down. We were mentioning it just before, obviously 130-something souls.
Yeah, we're up to 146 now on the Senna, and I have to talk about the build on Ginsu's, because the last time Ezreal was played, or Senna was played by Reckless, I was just reading the tooltip. Of course, with that Ginsu's, all your crit chance is converted into bonus on-hit damage. So usually as Senna, when you go past the 100% crit chance mark, that would be converted into lifesteal, right? And who really cares about that? We care about the damage here in the LEC. So by going for the Ginsu's, you convert all of it into just bonus flat damage. And that's nasty.
It is very nasty. Let's see whether or not this engage will be nasty too. Trymbi will deliver Hansama to the bottom lane. Odo just short of the taunt. Tempered Fate comes out, only catching himself a Kench. Locked against the wall. The poke damage is not following up, and Hansama and Larssen will usher the minions onto the inner bottom turret. This will be the 4th of the game. Rogue maintain a 5,000 gold lead.
TP in from Szygenda. They're trying for it, but I don't know about this one, Trevor.
Got himself the baby cage, will not go over the wall, does instead. A moment or two later, will not get rooted down. Trymbi steps forward. The recall's coming out from Odo. Standing Knight is available, he'll cancel it. Ultimate comes down from
Crowny.
Hansama.
Odo wants Crowny.
Manages to get the taunt. Flash, knocked backwards from Larssen. That was beautiful. And it's a double kill for Larssen on the Azir. Szygenda turns his attention onto Inspired, and Vitality are yet to pick up a kill in 32 minutes of gameplay. And Rogue now turn their attention to the inhibitor turret.
It's Draft Kingdom, it's Lane Kingdom, it's Teamfight Kingdom, it is Rogue's Kingdom in this game. Vitality can't even find a kill in 30 minutes of gameplay. Rogue, they're charging down for the victory.
They extend that gold lead even further. They execute on the team fights near flawlessly. Larssen 7-0-2 on this Azir. His most played champion ever, and he is excelling. Now, admittedly, let's be fair here. Rogue have not been under much pressure this game. They got ahead early. They've out-farmed, they played the objective event, and despite,
Yeah, but I don't care if they haven't been under pressure, it's because they've beaten Vitality every step of the way since they got into the first ban of the game. It seems like it's been in Rogue's favor, just nothing that Vitality can realistically do here, and I love Odo's decision not to end up going for the reset, instead to try and get this taunt over the wall, and it's a combo of him and Larssen absolutely flying in off of this. Odo goes for 2, Larssen gets a 3rd one right into the mix of things. Able to finish off a couple more on the back side of that play. But when we come out of this replay, I just want to look at the scoreboard, because the kill participation from Rogue tells you everything, how they've been working together as a team using these globals. 100% KP for both the mid laner and the support in the Senna. Almost messed that one up. Then 8 out of 9 for top and farm Kench.
Yeah, farm Kench. And
then jungle's ruined. Yeah, what's he doing?
Letting the side down, you know? Jungle difference here, like really. Zero, like just not delivering here. And it's still 100% kill participation for Skeanz, so he's winning in that regard.
Oh no, you didn't.
I think that's how it works.
You didn't just.
Nevertheless, look, it's 6,000 gold the difference. And obviously, Rogue are in a monumental position. That's really good damage. True Shot Barrage comes out once again. Trymbi goes golden. He's tempered by fate. The shield comes out from Hansama, and Crowny is chucking out those mystic shots. Inspired and Hansama are going low. Despite the gold deficit, that is a lot of damage from Vitality. You can see that they do have some punch.
We have a very different definition of a lot of damage. Someone's just gonna press Q and it all comes back.
It healed. He was damaged then.
Right. Okay.
That was phase 2.
You've got a point there.
That was phase 2.
There we go.
Into another.
They've got
Hansama. A lot of damage ender. The first 2 kills from Vitality. I accept your apology. And Vitality turned to Baron.
I'm sorry, Vitality. Why did I doubt you? Vitality get the huge engage there. Milica on the Valkyrie, and they're gonna get 2 Barons in this game? That's ridiculous.
That is crazy. Now that Baron will be at the cost of the Cloud Soul, okay? And that is a terrifying prospect when you look at the composition of Rogue. But this resets the game once again. 2,500 gold difference, and look at how quickly they melted Hansama.
Yeah, and it's the Valkyrie that separates Hans from Trymbi. That is absolutely critical. Look at it. Hans goes 1. Oh, he goes there with Trymbi, but it also sees he's Trymbi, so he can't get the W. Point still stands. He gets 2 kills for the price of 1.
That burst damage was ridiculous.
Nasty.
And you don't get the time to heal up from Senna's kit, as well as that Moonstone, so Hansama blown up. The Valkyrie, the execution works. Unfortunately, it still feels a little late, right? We're 35 minutes into the game. Vitality, yes, they got their second Baron. Skeanz is inside the turtle for now. Swaps back to Bear. And they've got Baron that'll again buy time, but they're now playing into Soul. The Elder will be the next potential objective here for Rogue. And even though it still feels Rogue favored, now I'm starting to believe a little bit more if Vitality can find a few more magical fights like that.
Yeah, because I mean, with the Baron buff too, now all of a sudden Szygenda has a side lane that he can do anything in. You know, 3 items on that Camille, he is no slouch. Of course, the globals he still has to keep in mind, so he has to be patient. But with his team, with that Baron buff again, pushing down through mid, it means that Rogue can't be freely moving around the map.
Rob steps forward. Tempered Fate's already been used, by the way. It's on cooldown. I think we just missed that off screen. As we jump forward, so the play not going to follow.
Huge
The
sleep.
Comes out, is going to be cleansed away. It looks like that's a back out. Now Hansama pushing the wave. Szygenda and Odoamne are still fighting in the bottom lane.
But Labrov has gone to completely shut down this Lillia. He went for the very early McHale's, big damage onto Inspired. Okay, I see your point now, Trevor. Vitality are doing damage.
When they hit their skill shots, you can see it coming together. The 3-item for Milica, 3 items for Crownshot. Szygenda gets the bottom tower. The gold lead is insignificant, and Vitality are right back in this game.
Vitality. I've seen some back and forth games today, Trevor. I know you weren't on the desk for the last one, but that one was ping-ponging back and forth, exposed Nexus and everything. This game, Rogue took down the inhibitor very early on, but with a Baron steal and then a huge pick before the second Baron. Vitality have held it together. And now we see how this team composition can function. If Vitality get a third Baron, the game becomes winnable for them, and that's what they have to be looking forward to.
Still in a deficit, still behind, but it is no longer as dire as it was a few minutes ago. You talked about a ping pong in the previous games. This is significantly slower. I think this is like checkers or chess, where you're down to the last few units, and Vitality have a small lifeline. But can they find the kills? Crucially, it has come down to picking off Larssen or Hansama. And it's 3 minutes until Elder. Vitality, they are looking for a play.
All right, we'll have to see. Everyone slows down for just a second here. Baron buff has gone away, so it's time, Trevor, for another Senna soul check-in. 180 has been achieved by the Senna, which gives her a whopping 225 bonus range. On top of all that, crit chance directly converted into on-hit damage. I just had our producers double check and see if anyone was running Gathering Storm, because I think that was the next thing we had to check in on, and no. These fools, none of them have Gathering Storm. What are they thinking?
Shocking stuff. I think Rogue expected to have won the game before it would have been valuable. But all credit here to Vitality. They snuck away the Cloud Drakes when it mattered. Skeanz steals a Baron, and then with the help of Milica and Crownshot, they pick up the kill to secure the second Baron. 2 minutes to Baron, 2 minutes to Elder. We'll have a split focus on the map. We already know that for Vitality, it could get very scary. If they lose Elder but get Baron, that's problematic for them. So vision, positioning, and wave states will be very, very crucial. If you look at the minimap, it's currently a spattering of wards for Vitality.
Yeah, they've got some deep ones too if they wanted to get some sort of flank off. A lot of blue trinkets, which is that permanent vision that honestly Rogue have not spent much time trying to clear away. Now that they go into the river, they will be able to remove a few of those. But let's think back to the 2 kills, the only 2 kills Vitality have gotten this game. It was a Corki package. It was Milica flying on in there and really finding both Hans and Trymbi, using that ultimate to make sure they could burst down Hansama before Trymbi could actually get the Devour off. So Trymbi has to be on point, has to preempt those CCs with a Devour to keep his AD carry alive and his support alive. Messed it up. Now Hansama can be an AD carry, I'll allow it.
Okay, I think so too. You know, when you've got Lord Dominic's Krakenstay and Rageblade,
we're at that point now.
He has been upgraded from support Senna to now bot lane Senna. But the farm Kench is still doing work. Abyssal Voyage into the top lane, cutting off those minions. A minute to go for both objectives. Let's take again a look at the minimap. Ender, set me up here. Obviously, for Rogue, they cannot concede either of these objectives because that's what gets Vitality one step closer to being competitive.
Well, Rogue are just going for mid. Oh, wow, that huge damage on Hansama. The ultimate as well from Crownshot connects. And all of a sudden, that's that ping pong. Rogue had mid priority, but the damage comes through, and now Rogue are on the back foot.
Also, I think the initiation from Rogue came when Szygenda TP to the bottom lane. His teleport is on cooldown for the ensuing Baron OL.
I will also say Rogue's comp doesn't have huge, engage threats. What they play off of is these long-range slows, the Glacial Augment from Hansama. They want to take fights slowly and chip you down. So the fact is, Vitality have room to try and land their own poke before the full commitment comes through from Rogue. Vitality have a lot of slippery champions that can get out of these engage attempts by Rogue, and that's what they have to work with in the 5v5s.
Vitality, I wrote you off yesterday, did not expect anything, and you surprised me. Vitality, I wrote you off today for 30 minutes of this game, and you have surprised me. We are now in the end game. Both neutral objectives are up, and what will Vitality's story be? The Tempered Fate finds nobody but Milica's sitting inside the package. If he can separate Hansama, if he can separate Larssen, that's how Vitality
Trymbi will not leave Hansama's side. He needs to be near Larssen too. Now Hans is a little bit isolated, but the damage comes through 3 autos, and Szygenda almost falls. That is critical. Rogue now with an opening.
When that bot laner is actually activated, Senna does work. A defensive Valkyrie. That is not what Vitality need.
Watch the flank from Szygenda.
Looking for a flank. The baby cage is available. The big one chunks out Larssen and Hansama, but look at the heals. Look at that. A pin against the wall. That will get some additional chunk of the Odo.
Oh, no.
The dash! The taunt! Crownshot forced to run for his life. Vitality are scattered. They are split. And they are shut down in the river. They are surrounded by Rogue members. And the last few hits will come in. The Empress Divine keeps Rogue alive. And Vitality will lose it at the final hurdle.
The Azir King in the team fight with the triple kill. Larssen shows up, and he's not taking no for an answer. He almost gets Labrov as well, but it's inspired to try and chase him down. Rogue don't care about the Elder. They're charging for the Nexus.
The hearts must be pounding for Rogue fans and the Rogue players alike. Inspired and Labrov putting on a show for everyone at home. 42 minutes in game. Rogue will barrel into Vitality's base. And if that early game had been a little different, if the composition a little different, maybe something could have happened here. But all credit to Vitality. They make it look fun. Labrov will get put to sleep as his Nexus gets blown up, and Rogue pick up another win.
Honestly, this was not a game that you expected Vitality to win. Rogue had them at the best pretty much every single turn, but there were some moments in that one where Vitality made you believe, right? The Baron Seal coming in, the huge engage from Milica. There were these glimpses of Vitality that made you want to believe in them, and it's been that way this entire split for them. And they need to find a way to make the stars align before it's too late.
Now, last weekend, Crownshot makes his debut with Vitality after replacing Comp. So the team, the players, they have to synergize. This weekend, they pick up a win against Fnatic. Despite an interesting team composition, they find a few moments that stand out. And for Vitality, that one win yesterday, a slightly more competitive game today. Time is running out, but there is some positives to take away. On the other side, Rogue, 9-2. Your nominees for key player of the game at LEC on Twitter. Odoamne, Larssen, Hansama. I think just excellent execution throughout the first 30 minutes of the game. That burger flip at Baron, that's what bought another 10 minutes. Are you voting for the porridge? You can't vote for the porridge.
No, I'm voting for Odoamne.
Oh,
have you not been listening this entire... Unbelievable.
I personally am on the hype train of never vote for Odo. I think it's more fun to see him salty, see him annoyed. Let him know I said that. We got a banger of a game coming up. It's Fnatic and Mad Lions. Two of the most aggressive teams we have go head-to-head. Do not go anywhere.
Veti, I'm coming for Valheim. I'm going to be there. Let's build a base together.
They haven't really shown like that much brilliance, I would say. Some of the games are just like snowball from like Bippo just TPing somewhere and like getting a few kills and then snowballing the game.
Tori goes in, Senna in trouble. Blocks as big does as he can, but that's the damage gone. Tries into the middle. Tries with a massive stun. Woodwinter's getting absolutely shredded. He gets stunned. Set the ultimate coming in. Upset the shutdown. Tori upset. Are you kidding me? Upset cleans house with the S-strike.
Creo que ni siquiera llegué hasta nivel 30 la primera vez. O sea, jugábamos 3x3, yo, mi hermano y un amigo suyo. Recuerdo que cuando más diversión tenía jugando al LoL era en esa época.
Del amateur a LEC en un año, ¿sabes? 2 splits. Estamos encantados. Lo esperábamos, pero no tan rápido.
Me acuerdo que en segundo de bachiller lo tenía ya claro, que yo quería ser profesional del LoL. Tuve mis dudas de, ¿y si igual no soy capaz, si no tengo el talento suficiente? No me veo capaz, la LEC está como tan lejos, yo soy ahora un chaval que está en el amateur. Joder, no he ganado nada, no he hecho nada. El primero que tiene que hacer algo por mí mismo soy yo, en lugar de esperar que el club me pague un coach o que el club me haga no sé qué o que el club me pague cuando yo ni siquiera estoy trabajando. Nadie me va a exigir más que yo.
¿Te puedes echar un poco más a la derecha?
Sí.
¿Un poco más? A ver.
Es como que te va preparando un poco a lo que es esto. Tío, si trabajas, ¿por qué no voy a estar en la LEC? Yo solo tengo que trabajar. Yo, si pongo las horas, puedo conseguir lo que quiera.
Va a ser para el diciembre, va a ser para el Yoyita, ¿para quién si no?
A mí el amateur realmente me ha preparado a ir a una LAN y tener una experiencia mala. No todo va a ser perfecto, te va a tocar jugar con ruido de fondo. Tú eres el que tiene que trabajar y eres el que tiene que sacarte las castañas del fuego. Aunque no me hubiese llegado, realmente habría seguido con las mismas ganas de mejorar que tengo ahora. Desde que lo puedo ver desde aquí, en el amateur realmente puedes pasar a la SLO con 0 talento y 100% de trabajo. Y bueno, igual X tiene más talento que tú, pues tú tienes que trabajar el doble que X para conseguir lo mismo que él. Pues tienes 2 opciones, o ponerte a llorar porque no tienes talento o trabajar el doble. A día de hoy soy quien soy gracias a tanto mis buenas como las malas experiencias. Donde más se aprende es en las malas experiencias. El irme yo a casa con un 0-3 contra VIT es lo que me ha hecho estar aquí.
Es como si Gaming no hubiese salido a jugar.
No siento que haya conseguido aún nada, ya que mi objetivo es ser el mejor de Europa y llegar a mundiales. Entonces para mí, y tengo que seguir currando como nadie, para mí el Tormenta es como el primer paso a dar si quieres llegar a ser un jugador profesional.
Qué vídeo, qué historia fantástico sobre Elyoya, uno de los nuevos jugadores en Mad Lions. Awesome video about Elyoya. Sí. Really cool stuff. I mean, this is it's time for Mad Lions versus Fnatic, so this was a great introduction to Mad Lions and to that jungle that had to really step up.
Honestly, I love it. It's like the opening scene from like the Rocky remake. You know what I mean? He's like, you can either complain about it or you can do the work. And I'm like, I'm ready. I'm fired up. Let's go.
And I think that's exactly what we want to see when you're coming into a team that has such big expectations like the Mad Lions. And in his first LEC season, Elyoya has already pulled out some great games. Yesterday, though, he and the Mad bot lane dominated versus XL. Now, Elyoya had an amazing Kayn, which we already talked about aplenty. But the bot lane is what we want to focus in on here, especially. Carzzy and Kaiser, Sheepy, having such an amazing breakthrough year last year around. Also with big expectations on their shoulders, respectively.
Yeah, like I said, I'm really excited about this bot lane in particular. I think Kaiser for me was a standout support. He dropped a bit the ball, they said themselves, they daring too much. They're also the one that making the plays, and I think yesterday they had amazing performance, obviously together with the Spanish rocket here with Elyoya, and yeah, I'm looking forward to a really great series today against Fnatic, especially because bot lane is going to be spicy.
Absolutely, and I think when we look in the context of how they came into the league, Didi, we had this new blood. What can we expect? Kaiser on these engaged supports, on these oddball supports, on the Wukong, and then Carzzy alongside them. They were really one of the breakout duos of that year. So it was a lot to live up to, and they're developing coming into this one.
Well, yeah, and I think when they came in, we had high expectations of Carzzy. He was really hyped up and rumored to be a very strong player, but Kaiser kind of came in nowhere, out of nowhere, and he very quickly rose to be a top 3 support in the league. Incredible playmaking, and while Carzzy is still not always the most consistent, he's so incredibly explosive, so incredibly confident, and the way that this bot lane has developed, I can't believe that there was ever a point in history where they weren't close to touching the top or near the top or in the discussion for top 3 bottom lanes in the league.
Great, and in the beginning of the season, though, we did see a bit of limit testing from them, right, in a lot of games, but you know, I think they're allowed to do that. But this is now where they have to clean it up. They're up versus Fnatic, and this is a very important game for both of them, looking at who they might meet in the playoffs, which might very well be Fnatic or Mad Lions for them respectively. Yesterday, Fnatic though, I guess the fans are happy that there's 3 people here, not just me, to talk about this game. They dropped the ball versus Vitality, and they dropped it hard, Sheepy.
Yeah, I was unhappy with Fnatic. I think as many people were. Vippo himself, I think, wasn't happy with this as well. And I mean, as we can see in the stats, it looked okay in the beginning. It looked even better in the mid game, and then towards the end, it just, you know, started to fall all apart. I think Vitality, props to them. Honestly, they had a really, really great performance today. They were fighting against Rogue as well. Was a nail biter until the end. But really, we're expecting more Fnatic. We're expecting more from their bot lane. I think Upset after the early dives on bot lane should have been able to carry more, but was not able to.
I mean, Hilly, even in that absolute trash fire yesterday, played really well, right? He's like, I mean, they give him so much flack for always initiating or whatnot, but often he is also the guy that can turn these games around.
Yeah, and I think Hillsang in general is a magnet for attention because his playstyle is so flashy and so aggressive. And when it works, it really works. And when it doesn't, it usually looks a little bit like he's running it. But yesterday, even in a very difficult game, we saw the bot lane dives coming in were very clutch, very well coordinated from the Fnatic duo, even when they weren't necessarily off to the most explosive start. That's the thing I love about Fnatic, is that no matter what happens in a game, they are always fighting.
And props really to the casters because they pointed it out. Even though Alistair was 0-5 at some point, he was always dying for the sins of the team. He was always doing something so that the team gets ahead, and that's Hilly in a nutshell. He really doesn't care, you know, if he himself has a great stat line. Like, he never cared about this ever, even in the time in Unicorns of Love, especially not in the Unicorns time. But he really wants to be a team player. He wants everybody to win when he's going in, and he wants to be the last one leaving and generally dying as well.
Yeah, for people who may not know, Sheepy, of course, used to coach this guy way in the beginning when he joined the EULCS. Hilly, who's come such a long way, and I think that's why we have such a magnifying glass on this bottom lane matchup as a whole, especially seeing how many crazy plays we've already seen just today out of the other bot lanes. There was a tweet sent out by Whippo yesterday after the game, kind of taking the blame for himself and saying, yo, this is on me. He has stepped up as that figurehead for the team. That's a good one. Deflect that blame and concentrate on the next game.
Yeah, I massively agree with this. He got the counter pick. He picked the Wukong into the Aatrox, actually got solo killed on his lane. Wukong especially a pick where if you start getting ahead, it's so easy for you to one-shot the backline. He could have carried, and Vippo realizes this. He did not, and I think it's fine for him to take the blame. He's a player, I think, that takes a lot of agency for his play, and yeah, I'm looking forward for him to step up as well. I think he's angry.
I think they're angry too. They're tied in the standings, so super important game. We don't do predictions that often, but I feel like this one warrants it. Drakos, who's going to win and why?
Oh man, it's actually really hard after the performance yesterday. I still think I believe in Fnatic overall. I think that as good as Kaiser has been, Hillsang in general is just a player that can really have these explosive performances. And Whippo, if we forget yesterday, he's just coming off that incredible Riven game. And Arma, while he did have that great Jace game, while he was putting out like 5k damage per fight, his laning phase against Broken Blade in a matchup that he was supposed to win was not very good. So if there's any player in the top 5 teams that Whippo could expose, it's Arma.
You don't have that much time.
I think it's Fnatic. It's okay, just take my time. Yeah, I think it's Fnatic. I stand with my boy Hillsang, and yeah, they're awesome.
Sounds a lot like a jinx to me, and it's not my fault this time. Last time they met, there were over 50 kills in the game that Fnatic and Mad played, so we're expecting another action-packed game between those two. Stick around. Mad vs Fnatic after this.